All right. Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Racha Quadash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways, pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect, Shabbat Chalak Har, come back at you with another video. And as you see in the news lately, the freedom of speech has slowly been taken away, with Trump coming out and making an executive order that burning the flag will land you a year in prison. You can't get out. You got to do a full 365 days in prison or jail. What he's saying right here says, we took the freedom of speech away with flag burning order. It's very deceptive, because burning a flag is an action. It's not necessarily a freedom of speech, but one can look at it as you having the right to burn a flag. It's a flag. It really don't mean much, but the pride of these devils, the pride of these devils is you're not going to do anything to go against the narrative, which is bringing back this Edomite, Christian Edomite, white supremacist type style back to the earth. This dominance, this, and they're using the small hat, Esau, Edom, or Amalekites, which is the you wish today. They're trying to use America as their stepping stone to bring back world dominance to them. The least of the flock, the rattiest of them all. The lowest of the Edomites, of the tribe of the Edomites. But we know, we're living in a time where saying what you want, on the internet or to anybody is going to be a crime. Having the liberty to speak your mind will be censored. It's going to be called hate speech, and it's going to come with heavy consequences. These are the tokens of the time. If we go to Second Edges, because it says truth shall be hidden. Second Edges 5 and verse 1, it says, nevertheless come in the tokens. Now, this is a token. Him coming and making an executive order saying burning the flag is getting rid of freedom. We took the freedom of speech away. This is a token of the times that we're living in. This is a token of the things that's going to come upon the earth, that's already here, but just they're moving in a pace, it's increments, domino effects. First it's going to be, you're burning the flag. Then it's going to be if you say anything about, any small hat, talking against a small hat. You're going to be persecuted for it. You're going to be thrown in prison. You're going to be, your rights taken away. These are tokens of the end, closer to our Lord coming back, Yahweh Shah. Second Edges 5 and 1, nevertheless, as the coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come, that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. What are you? When something's barren, that means it's unproducing. There's nothing of it. Remember, Rebecca was barren, right? She couldn't. Sarah was barren. She couldn't have any kids. Rebecca, Salakia. Isaac prayed to the Lord that she'll have a kid. children. But this current land that we live in, Babylon the Great and the Okiomini, is barren of faith, because the way of truth shall be hidden, because the famine of the word. When that famine of the word hits, when the Lord takes his men off the streets, he stops them from talking on the internet, through Esau Edom. People faith, they're going to be searching. They're going to go to and fro, trying to find out. I know there's a scripture now, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. People are going to be searching left and right to find. They shall wander sea to sea. As a matter of fact, that's in Amos 8. They shall wander sea to sea, trying to find a vision, a prophet. They're trying to, hey, them men was out here. I knew that man was out there talking about this stuff. Where is he now? The Lord is going to shut him up, shut us up.
Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag-burning mob, and we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. I've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do, is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples.
See, what Esau Edom does is he'll use this as a method to bring in law and order. Oh, they're burning flags. Let's stop them from doing that and call it taking away freedom of speech. That's a even though there's no law saying you can't go speak about what you want to speak on, it's the stepping block, it's the building blocks to it. It's deceptive. It's very deceptive. It's cunning. It's subtle. This devil is a cunning hunter. He's subtle.
Of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning.
So they're going to move in the name of burning the flag to take away your freedom of speech. And this is happening on a world stage too. This is from the Global Times. China releases rules regulating online acts of religious personnel, banning self-promotion, exploiting religion for profit. China's National Religious Affairs Administration issued a set of rules on the management of online behaviors for clerical personnel, which includes activities such as online preaching scriptures and providing religious education or training on the internet, according to the release of the official website of National Religious Affairs Administration on Tuesday. So the famine of the word is here. We know this, and it's in China right now, right? This is in China. They're making rules of what you can say and what you can't say, and how you can say it and who you can say it to. And we know the West tries to mimic China, right? Just get it real quick. Amos 8. Fire chapter, by the way. Amos 8 and 11. It says, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, They shall run to and seek, Salakia. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst. Yeah, so when the Lord bring this halt to speaking his word, you know, you people gonna be wondering. Because, you know, more and more perils are coming upon the earth. More and more drastic times, more and more hard times. And people are already lamenting, you know. This book, this Bible, you know, tells you that what this book is all about. I think it's Ezekiel 2. Mourners lament and woe. Oh, Salakia. Ezekiel 2. Yeah, Ezekiel 2 and verse 10. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mournings and woe. This book, you know, this is what it's all about. You're going to be lamenting. You're going to be wondering. You're going to be destruction mode. You know, destruction is coming. You know, you're going to wonder, why is this happening to me? I thought the Lord was with me. I thought the Lord was protecting me. You know, but at the end of the day, you don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushua as your rock, your fortress. You know, you just have these false idols. You have these titles that you're leaning on. As soon the Lord is going to strip his grace away, because you had liberty to turn to the prophets. You had liberty to adhere to the word of the Lord by his men. But you continue to be stiff-necked, you know, hard-hearted, hard-headed. So what did the Lord have to do? He has to, first and foremost, he has to he's going to be justified and bringing a hammer to your ass. And you can't say, I didn't know, Lord. I know I saw those men, but they didn't look like they was, you know, they didn't look like they was teaching the right things to me. I didn't understand it. Well, ultimately, the Lord, put you in deep sleep? Isaiah 29. The Lord put that slumber on your ass. Isaiah 29 and 10 says, for the Lord Yahweh have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered. The Lord put the deep sleep on you. You know, warmed you up a turkey sandwich, you know, gave you a warm glass of milk, patted you on your back, you burped. Lord said, here, sit down right here in this recliner chair. And that spirit of deep sleep came upon you. And your Salakia, and your eyes was closed. You know, the prophets, your rulers, the seers, how he covered. He covered them up. Verse 11 says, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. Because look, when more and more perils, you know, more and more signs, more and more tokens come upon the earth, people are going to turn to the Bible. But there ain't nobody going to be there to interpret it for them. Be like, I know this got to be in the Bible. You know, this is God, because the Lord going to put the spirit to, like it says, running from sea to sea. You know, all of this knowledge and understanding, or this knowledge that's out here, you know, a lot of it, you know, if you don't have the understanding of the Bible, you don't got shit. At the end of the day, all this other shit is garbage. So people going to be wondering, well, I thought I was this. I thought I was meditating my way out of this. I thought if I was a good person, if I was a good human being, that everything would be okay and I don't have to worry about nothing. Well, you fail to realize what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a power that used to have the title of Alasharda, a demon-like power. Verse 12 says, "And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord said, For as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, oh, I love the Lord. I do anything for the Lord. God is good all the time, baby. And their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me." Yeah, that spirit. You talk a good talk, but your spirit is not right. And their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men. By the precepts of men. What I was just saying is, the Lord loves everybody. The Lord won't forsake you. Jesus loved this. Jesus loved that. Jesus is all love, 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 love. All you got to do is love. When you don't even know what love is, according to the scriptures. You don't even know what sin is, according to the scriptures. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, for the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of the prudent men shall be hid. Ooh, that's heavy. The understanding of the prudent men shall be hid. Now, who's the prudent? It's the men holding the Bible on the highways and byways, speaking 100% truth. Found right here in Great Millstone. And affiliates. Verse 15 says, "Woe, destruction unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord Yahweh. And their works are in the dark, and they say, Who seeth us, and who knoweth us?" The eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. What you think you're getting away with, the Lord is got it all recorded. The eye in the sky don't lie. The eye in the sky don't lie. We should say that in football, because you coach be like, what'd you do on that play? Well, I did this, and then okay, we're gonna see on film. We're gonna see what happened, because the eye in the sky don't lie. It's heavy. I might do a lesson on that. Lord will. "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say unto him that made it, He made me not? Or shall the thing framed say to him that framed it, He have no understanding?" Yeah. You have no understanding of what the hell is happening. Who created you? Who put you in that spirit, in that body that you're housing? The Lord didn't make me like this. How could it be so? That's Jake. Back in this article, it says the 18-article document details provisions for religious personnel online conduct requiring clerical personnel to comply with national laws and relevant regulations. The regulation stipulates that religious personnel's online scripture preaching and religious education training can only be conducted through legal established websites, apps, forums, and other online platforms operated by religious groups, religious institutions, temples, or churches that have obtained a license to provide online religious information service issued by official departments. Yeah. So basically, you can't be no group that's not on paper. You can't be no group. You got to be a 501c3. Because if you're a 501c3, you're going to say what they ordained you to say, or what your prohibited. What you're allowed to say. It says the regulation prohibits clerical personnel from engaging in online self-promotion, supporting or participating in overseas religious infiltrations, activities, spreading religious extremist ideologies, promoting cults or hearsays, or profiting from religion. So, if you're a Hebrew Israelite over there in China, which we know our people have been scattered throughout the four corners of the globe, so they're everywhere. They're everywhere trying to get getting this truth, because even years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, Apostle Tahar put on this channel. It was Moab calling on the Lord. And you've seen, because what the Hebrew language, the Lashon Kodash, everybody can speak it, because it's the pure language. No matter what race, no matter what region of the world you're in, you can say Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah. You can say that. There's no, it's in this, like, no, this is the Lashon Kodash, man, the language of the heavens. It says the new rules are intended to implement existing laws on religious affairs, standardize the online behavior of religious personnel, and maintain order in online religious activities. So you can get into this article if you want. I got one more for you. But nevertheless, the time is coming where it says in Ezekiel, the tongue will cleave to the mouth, the roof of the mouth. Ezekiel 3 and 20. Yeah, 26. I'm gonna read it in the NLT, say what it says. It says, and I will make your tongue stick, Ezekiel 3 and 26, and I will make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you will be speechless and unable to rebuke them, for they are rebels. And that's when that famine. You're not going to reprove these people anymore. You're not going to go out there and give them this unadulterated truth. Verse 27, but when I give you a message, I will loosen your tongue and let you speak. Then you will say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Those who choose to listen will listen, but those who refuse will refuse, for they are rebels. It's rebellious house. You Israelites, man. When I remember what's that in Luke? Zacharias came out of the temple and he was mute. Basically had a vision of John being born. What is it? Luke 1. Let me start at 19. Luke 1 and 19. It says, and the angel answered, said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of the Most High Power, and am sent to speak unto thee, to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. And the people waited for Zacharias and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple, and when he came out, he could not speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned unto them and remained speechless. And like I said, that was the coming of John, and he didn't believe the words of Gabriel because they was barren. Elizabeth was barren. She was barren. he didn't believe, because they was so up in age, he didn't believe that they would have a child, you know. And I'm using this to say, like, basically, you know, Zacharias saw a vision, and, you know, the vision going to come down to our apostles to when it's time to be, you know, shut it up, be quiet, you know, because you're going to have, you're going to have Israelite groups, you know, still beating on their chest, saying, I'm going to go out there. This is our, but there's a time where the famine of the word, you got to be quiet, you know. Like it says in Ezekiel, I'm going to make the tongue of your roof cleave, you know. And like I said, you're going to have other Israelite groups that's not going to adhere to the mandates, and you can't go out there and preach. Well, I'm going to go out there anyway. Well, you're going to get locked up and thrown in the back of a paddy wagon and beat the shit out of it because you just didn't listen to the Spirit. You wanted to do your own way. You know, when the order went out. You know. This other article right here, I ain't gonna get too much into reading it. It's from the Christian Post. Christians, which when you go over to the word Christian, it means followers of the anointed Hamashiachim. You know, it was first called Christians in Antioch. That's in the book of Acts. Here are the countries where it's hardest to access the Bible list. You know, so these countries, you know, and like I said, I'm not going to read it. Somalia, Afghanistan, Yemen, North Korea, Mauritania, Tiana, it's an African country, Hamite nation, Eritrea. You know, these are where it's hard to access, and you know our people are there. You know, is the remnant is there, or Salakia, Israelites are there. I was, you know, the elect is scattered around the four corners of the globe. They can be anywhere, but primarily they're here in the Americas. You know, North, South, Central America. You know, so with that said, the famine of the word is coming. Freedom of speech has been taken away. I hope you was edified, exhorted. Hope you got something out of this. Hope to see you on the next video. Lord willing, shalom.